The Shark Deck.
Seems the comedians kind of had it with Chappelle playing the victim card. Hi, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. You know, Dave should be the answer to who's the top comedian of the 2020s. And the answer should just be Dave Chappelle. But what has happened is, if you mention Dave Chappelle, everybody goes, oh, the guy that makes trans jokes. And now, oh, the guy that whines that he's canceled. And Dave's clearly not canceled at all. Anthony Jeselnik said, if you're as big as he is, people are going to get upset at the things you say. It's part of what you do, and it's part of why you do it. So I don't understand the complaint. Dave makes so much money. Your job should be a little hard. I don't have sympathy for you in that. He says whatever he wants to, but great. When there's pushback, I don't know why it bothers him. Bert Kreischer was on Pardon My Take. He was talking about the machine routine, as almost every interview with Bert Kreischer winds up talking about that routine for, good reasons. And we've got the movie coming out this summer. I'm looking forward to the movie. I think on the other side of that, maybe we could stop talking about the machine for a while. So he's talking about back in the day, I'm doing clubs, $25 tickets, and I'm telling the machine close to every show. And my wife comes and sees me in San Francisco, and she says at the end of the show, hey, you don't tell that story anymore. And I said, for real? And she goes, yeah, you're phoning it in, and it's not worth the money they're paying. And I was like, what? And she goes, either tell it or don't tell it. But if you're going to tell it, effing tell it, like really tell it. And I went, I am telling it. And she goes, no. And I go, well, I don't know what to do. I'm just saying the same 12 minutes verbatim. It's killing me. And she was like, then find fun with it. So what I would do is I'd find fun ways. I'd tell it as if I was telling it for the first time, and I try to find a way to write a joke, and I have so many jokes inside the machine story. I did the one the other day about a pivotal moment where you realize you don't have the biggest penis in the world. Like, you just have your thing, and I'm cleaning this up here, and you're like, oh, this is great. And then you go in a locker room in 9th grade, and you're like, what the F? I remember going in a locker room looking at stuff and going, oh, I thought black was a slimming color. And then you go, oh, cool, I have a cool bit. And then he hands it into the machine. Ralph Barbosa, been in the news a lot lately. Thanks, George Lopez. Hey, Ralph, when did you first notice your comedy career was starting to blow up? This from the LA Times. Barbosa said, around November, my social media had grown quite a bit. I started getting booked more on the road. I filmed a special for HBO. But in November, there was a lot of promo for it, and we did a promotional event at the New York Comedy Festival. So with Instagram going up and TikTok blowing up and all the other stuff, was kind of mind-blowing, everything all at once. By December/January, I was booking more gigs, and I was approved to do The Tonight Show with Fallon. There's a few months before that, I was struggling to make ends meet, running from open mic to open mic. Good for him, man. They asked him about the comedy scene in Dallas. He said, yeah, there's a handful of clubs there. We have the Addison Improv, the Hyenas Clubs, Backdoor Comedy. That's a clean club. Kind of funny to me that Backdoor Comedy is clean. Think about it. Yeah, move on. Which means you can't curse on stage, which I feel helped me make my writing better. It's not like New York or LA, we can get up in front of some big names every night, but you can definitely stay busy, which is all I really needed. When I started traveling, I worried my jokes wouldn't translate because I was only performing in Dallas for a long time, and I thought, what if my stuff's not cut out for crowds outside Texas or Dallas? And what I've been finding is no matter where I go, tons of people can relate to my stuff, even if they don't go through what I'm talking about. A lot of people have still felt stuff, what I'm feeling. I think when it comes to comedy in general, the more specific you are, the more relatable you end up being. Brian Regan told the Durango Herald, there's a lot of comedians out there who are great at what they do. I've always been a big Jerry Seinfeld fan. You can go back in time to the big names, George Carlin, Richard Pryor. I like Jonathan Winters a lot. I like Johnny Carson. A lot of comedians out there doing good things, but you got to be careful not to pattern yourself after somebody. You might like what they do, but you always try to carve your own unique path in this business. I think if you stay true to yourself, make sure that you're sharing how you feel as an individual on stage, it usually works out pretty good. I don't like to hurt people's feelings. I wouldn't talk about how someone looks or something like that. I wouldn't make fun of someone. I think behavior is fair game. I wouldn't mind going after somebody about their behavior. Mostly I talk about myself. I like to be self-effacing when I'm on stage, but in terms of topics, I think ultimately all topics are fair game. It just depends how you approach them. As long as you have some moral compass inside of you and you're just trying to make people laugh by pointing out certain things, then I think everything's available to be talked about. Fortune Feemster told Kentucky.com, very early on in my career, I was getting told no constantly because I was considered different. I came up at a time when being different wasn't really celebrated. It was still that time in Hollywood where people wanted you to be like everybody else. Her career kind of stalled when she pitched Netflix an hour-long special, and the feedback I was getting was that I wasn't ready, and that forced me to go back on the road and really dig into my material and be like, what am I trying to say? She went back and worked out what became her special Sweet and Salty that aired on Netflix in 2020. She said, I like that narrative and the personal feeling to it. By the time I got a yes from Netflix, I really tapped into what I think is now my voice. The New Yorker asked Kate Berlant, what do you think about when people talk about you as an industry favorite or every comedian's favorite comedian? She said, I'll take it. She's enjoying doing her show these days, and she says, I'm already nostalgic for this time. I'm overwhelmed by the response to the show and the fact that every single show is sold out and people are coming multiple times. It's my dream come true. And then they asked her, are you getting work from it? And she said, nope, I don't have an offer yet, honey.
Welcome to How to Tickle Yourself. I'm your host, Duff McDonald.
And I'm your co-host, Matt McButter. We'll be talking to people who specialize in different ways of inhabiting their own consciousness, from artists to yoga teachers to scientists. We've even got a professional magician.
We're going to ask them questions like, what is consciousness? Why does it tickle? And what is magic anyway? Is it just card tricks, or is it the fact that your little speck of consciousness is part of a perfect possibility machine?
Find us wherever you get your podcasts and at storicmedia.com.
Marc Maron spoke about the ending of Netflix's Glow. Remember Glow? Women wrestlers? Fun show. Alison Brie. Remember Alison Brie in episode 1? You either know what I'm referencing or not. Move on, Johnny Mac. Wow, enjoyed that episode. COVID was so harrowing, and what I was going through personally was so harrowing too. I think Netflix was going to cut it loose anyway. I'm sorry, I'm laughing at that, but if you got it, you got it. I'm upset about the bad luck, but I believe that Netflix held on to those studios and those actors for a long time. And I know they have bottomless pockets and they have all this money, but they didn't do it lightly. It was disappointing when they finally said, look, we can't keep holding on to these studios. And there was really no way to shoot it safely with that many actors. There was COVID. Remember COVID? Yes. There just wasn't. But I'm upset that they didn't. Why couldn't they have just made a movie? Well, why can't they make a movie? Maron said, I don't know anyone's working on one if they believed in it. I'm more mad at Netflix in general for not just saying, well, why don't we make this last season a film? They could have done that. And we could have shot that after the pandemic. Now pay attention here. Maron said, but I don't think they're really good at supporting anything that doesn't add up to global business for them. That's just the nature of it. So yeah, I was disappointed because we needed to finish it. We were going to finish it. Allison's character and mine were going to get together. That's not the first interview where I've seen Maron blow a little steam in the direction of Netflix. When he was promoting the HBO special, there was some line, I'm quite paraphrasing here, like, who wants a Netflix special anyway? And I'm looking at that going like, I don't know, everybody? So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe he's just upset about Glow. From Cracked, LA-based comedian Logan Gunselman has an affinity for atypical advertising. For 1 week, Gunselman ran sidebar ads on certain websites. You know, the ones with naked ladies and stuff? That kind? Yeah. Gunselman said, during the pandemic, I had a lot of free time, so I was visiting porn sites more frequently. I'd get distracted by how insane the ads were, and I thought, seems like they'll buy anyone buy ads. I wonder how hard it is to set up. I Googled it. It was pretty easy. She spent probably 20 minutes shooting some silly suggestive photos for the ad campaign, then a few hours photoshopping the images and adding captions like, you know what feels better than finishing? Laughing. Boy, I'm trying hard here to clean this one up. I've got the perfect thing to listen to right after you are done. A 20-minute recording of a woman talking, and it had a link to her album. That's really funny. She said, most porn ads are bad, so these can be bad too. She paid a total of $150 to run her promotion for 1 week in select zip codes. Should I run some ads for my podcast so a bunch of horny dudes could be like, what the hell is this dude? Nah. The ad campaign didn't work out so well. Her dream is to advertise her shows on the TV screens at the Department of Motor Vehicles, but it turns out that's actually like $5,000. More recently, she publicized some shows in Louisville, Kentucky by dumping a bucket of KY lubricant all over herself. KY as in Kentucky. Get it? She did that in an Instagram post. She also hosts a monthly show with the Blind Barber in LA that's strictly BYOL. What's BYOL, Johnny Mac? Bring your own lube. I think it's time to go. It's your comedy news for today. Follow the show for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. A little naughty today. Whew. YouTube, wherever you get your shows. See you tomorrow. Who doesn't like vacations? Do you need some inspiration for your next road trip? Are you excited to get out there and explore the world again? Hi, I'm Johnny Mac. My podcast is called Travel is Back. Travel is Back is travel for regular people. We hop in the car, we fly coach, we use our miles, we eat at normal places, we stay at normal places. So what I do is I hop in the car, I grab my portable recorder, and I go somewhere. Season 3 kicks off with a road trip to Key West. You can check out the back catalog. There are popular episodes covering Chicago, Nashville, Vancouver, Seattle, a whole bunch more. Travel is Back, road trips for regular people. Follow the show on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your shows. These are quick, these are casual, and it's for regular people like you. Travel is Back.